So I joined Academi Wales as director on the 1st of December 2021, so I haven't been here very long. And as a public service leader based in Wales, I already had been on a delegate, I'd already been a delegate on an Academi Wales programme, and I had a really good sense of what a fantastic organisation it is. And my first months as director have certainly confirmed that to be the case. It's a genuine pleasure to have the opportunity to work with such a great team in an area that's so crucial for the future success of public and third sector leaders in Wales. I'm really also looking forward to meeting with many of you and working with many of you over the coming weeks and months. And I want to use today's opening address to explore this year's theme, describe the learning model that we follow through the Winter School programme, and to set you some challenges as learners and leaders. Winter School is a unique learning event for the top 3 tiers of leadership across public, third and voluntary sectors in Wales. Even after 11 years, our Winter School is ever evolving, with this year being no exception. Due to the continuing impact of the pandemic, we've adapted the current Winter School programme format to be delivered as a live virtual event, while we continue to respond to the wider public service context and vision of working as one Welsh Public Service. We're really thrilled to be able to continue to deliver a Winter School programme, but like many of you, we're really looking forward to being able to return to engaging with you face to face in the future. Our commitment to you is to share new concepts and emerging theories, invite you to challenge your own knowledge, thinking and behaviours, taking you on a learning journey to explore some of your blind spots, and support you to be better than you've ever been before, so no pressure. Each day provides the opportunity to have your mind expanded, your toolkit enhanced, and your leadership behaviours changed for good. The programme's been developed to include live keynote speakers together with facilitated group learning sessions. You each have a copy of a delegate workbook, which is available to you on the hub, including the 4-day programme, speaker biographies, reflective and personal learning space, and also learning into action, which is for you to use to transfer your learning from the week into action when you go back to the day job. And finally, your personal pledges, which I've mentioned and we'll come on to a little bit later. I know you'll recognise the wellbeing goals of the Future Generations Act, underpinned by the Welsh Public Service values, which support those new ways of working. And we all have a part to play in bringing about a better Wales for all its citizens. A Wales where public services and public servants work collaboratively together for the long term, where organisations and individuals are growing and improving, striving to be the very best versions of themselves, where we work together not because we have to, but because we want to. And in fact, it doesn't even cross our minds to work in any other way. It's just second nature. A Wales where everyone's treated with respect, where we value diversity and we see it as a true strength. And a Wales where we truly put our citizens first, involving them in decision making, which impacts on them and their communities. So how do we do it? How do we meet the challenge of being the best we can be? How do we ensure we do the right thing at the right time in the right place? The title for this year's Winter School is Leading for All, Renew, Recover, Regenerate, a Path Towards the Emergent Future. We've got a great lineup of keynote speakers during the week who will focus on how we can best survive, thrive and remain resilient through turbulent times, with a strong emphasis on brave leadership and the importance of engaging and motivating our teams in times of crisis. Today, you'll have the opportunity to hear from the Welsh Government Permanent Secretary, Dr. Andrew Goodall, and Fee Macmillan, who's joining us for the 4 days and will introduce you to the practice and culture of regenerative leadership. Our future success depends on our ability and commitment to connect. We must lead to make things different, to challenge the status quo, and to question for the better. How prepared are you to be different, potentially very different, by applying the learning from this event? In Academi Wales, part of our work is to read, research and understand what's going on in the world of leadership. And over the last year, we've noticed that time and time again, the idea of leadership being something more than a passive activity kept coming up, regardless of whether we were looking at transactional issues, continuous improvement, process change, delivery management, behaviour change, partnership working, or even whole system redesign. COVID-19 has created an environment where leaders take centre stage in the same way as a conductor leads an orchestra, often with very little time to plan or prepare, but needing to make decisions to be responsive to the needs of those dependent on our services. We've chosen the speakers for this event to support your learning in key areas, with the pandemic or the emergence from the pandemic requiring leaders to be more resilient, adaptable, responsive, agile, supportive, empowering, and sometimes what feels like being superhuman. So how can you get the best from your virtual winter school experience? Let me talk you through some of the principles underpinning everything that we do at Academi Wales and demonstrate how this winter school experience fits in. In 2017, the 7th edition of the Leadership Challenge book outlined this model, which, while simple, has stood the test of time and embodies many of the qualities I've just touched on and appears in most behavioural approaches. The literature shows us that to truly embrace learning, leaders need to model the way, being clear about their values and embodying them. They need to inspire a shared vision. That's about sharing responsibility, creating a sense of hope, imagining a future and tying big ideas into the vision. They need to challenge the process, so understanding that the status quo breeds mediocrity, so being clear about their expectations and really holding people to account. They need to enable others to act, so getting others engaged through ownership, developing confidence and trust, and being trustworthy as a leader. They need to encourage the heart then with passion and energy, encouraging community formation, being positive, and really importantly, celebrating and recognising results and achievement. This year's Winter School has a key leadership message within its theme around confronting new challenges and embracing new opportunities, learning to become more than just your role, being more human in your leadership, changing your own behaviour to get different results, and to notice that when we are outstanding, other people will reciprocate and be outstanding themselves. We'll learn over the course of these 4 days how much we as leaders can truly embrace the new challenges and opportunities that this crisis has presented and will present us with. You're not alone in your learning or your leadership journey. Academi Wales' wider development is here to support the journey you embark on this week. To find out more about what we've got to offer, please do visit our website, and there are further details in your delegate workbook. One example of that wider support is, and I hope you may already be familiar with, Leading in the Welsh Public Service, a leadership behaviours framework for senior leaders, which I know is quite a long title. For the purpose of this week, we're focusing on those behaviours right in the middle, sitting in the core of learning and self-awareness and drive and resilience, although you'll no doubt touch on other behavioural aspects during the course of the week. These 2 core leadership behaviours underpin the other 6 and enable a person to sustain a high level of healthy performance over time. They're of central importance to learning and adapting to changing needs, recognising that the skills we need for tomorrow might be very different to those that we need today. All development products and publications from Academi Wales are mapped to this framework, so when you come to learn with us, you know exactly which leadership behaviours and associated qualities you're developing and to what level. So I've covered what we're going to try to do for you over the coming days and how the learning fits into some of those bigger picture principles. But what do we ask from you in return? I'd like to just draw your attention to the 5 principles of learning that underpin everything we do within Academi Wales. So these principles are really about taking responsibility for your own and other people's learning, being really proactive in identifying what and how you want to learn, and reflecting on what your learning might mean for the way that you work, challenging your own assumptions, values, beliefs about the way that you work, and being very open to new ideas and new ways of thinking and doing. And finally, taking action to demonstrate the things you've learned. So having those real actions that you're going to take back to the workplace with you is what we're really striving to achieve. To be able to do these things effectively, you must be prepared to accept that what's got you to this point may not be the same thing that's going to get you to the next. And we ask you to enter into a space over the next 2 years and beyond. Sorry, 2 years. You're not going to be with us for 2 years. Over the next 2 days and beyond. Over the next week and beyond, I'm sorry, a space that's defined as negative capability, which might sound a bit counterintuitive. So, based on the work of Bion and Unger, and developed further by the University of the West of England, we know that we live and work in a space of positive capability. We base our decisions and actions on our experiences and what we're comfortable with in our worlds. We understand the span of control and we draw our confidence and certainty from it. But to really learn and to truly grow and challenge doing what we've always done, we need to open ourselves up to uncertainty, being prepared to put on hold ways of doing things that are no longer helpful or no longer support our goals and purpose. So the complementary skill to positive capability is called negative capability, so called because it's actually the ability to not do something, instead to be attentive and patient without reacting in the moment. It's often counterintuitive for leaders who typically think about positive capability, but it's the ability to be engaged in reflective inaction in that moment. The ability to be present with ambiguity, to tolerate the resultant anxiety or fear, and be comfortable in the discomfort of uncertainty. And in containing the pressures evoked by uncertainty, we create mental and emotional space for creative ideas to emerge. Once more, we can widen the boundaries of our learning by looking at the ability to let go of these things entirely. This will enable even greater self-knowledge and success, understanding that when we learn, we open ourselves up to the temptation of knowing more, but understanding less, and that's actually okay. We must be willing to turn our eyes inwards and self-inquire, to use our imaginations and our creative instincts to stand back and observe the patterns of the systems we're part of, and to be adaptable in our search for answers rather than jumping straight in to solutions. So use this winter school as an opportunity to challenge the things you know and believe, and allow your own personal sense of inquiry to make you more open and more confident. But most of all, reflect on your personal experience to identify if there are better ways you can do things. To develop a growth mindset and be outstanding public service leaders during this winter school, we'll all need to seek to be present and give our full attention. See change as a constant and positively embrace new ideas. Self-inquire and challenge your own assumptions. Focus on small steps of change and let your imaginations run wild. Take innovative risks even if they fail. Learn with positive intent and support and motivate those that work around you and with you. But most of all, be authentic and demonstrate our values openly. So we're not asking for much at all. Choosing to take action then and be outstanding when we return to the workplace with our learning will be about paying closer attention to our thinking, our decisions and our judgments, encouraging innovation and creativity by removing barriers for others to act, enabling leadership at all levels through collaboration and collective action, being optimistic and realistic about the challenges we face, and creating the space where people feel they and their contributions matter. This year's Live Winter School is about the leadership challenge of leading in times of complexity and uncertainty. It's about a time to learn, learning to become more than just your role, to become more human in your leadership, to change your own behaviour to get different results, and to notice that when we positively influence the environment within which we work, this has a direct impact on others' ability to perform more effectively. The World Economic Forum suggests that we need leaders who are emotionally intelligent, able to model and champion cooperative working. They'll coach rather than command, be driven by empathy, not ego. The fourth revolution needs a different, more human kind of leadership. This finally leads me to say welcome to and please enjoy your winter school experience 2022.